And hello, Twitch. My name is Julie Tergliafera. I am here at GeekGirlCon with our accessibility and entertainment interview. I'm sitting here with the wonderful Sam Stark, Natalie Naldis, and Tess Grossman. Would y'all like to take a second to introduce yourselves?
Go ahead. I will go first. I'm Sam Stark. I'm a voice actor and audiobook narrator. If you listen to podcasts or audio drama, I work under Rusty Quill and Bloody FM.
I'm Natalie Naldis. I am a voice actor and audiobook narrator as well, and an author. I have my debut novel out, which is Gay the Pray Away. I also create sapphic content for Quinn and narrate audiobooks, yeah.
Hi, I'm Tess Grossman. I go by they, them. I have gray glasses, red hair, and a blue sweater on today. And I am a video game accessibility consultant. So I work with a large swath of video games and technology to do accessibility to make sure everybody can play video games.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for being here with us today. We're going to go ahead and start with our first question, which is, what are some barriers that you see for people with disabilities in accessing or creating entertainment?
I have two perspectives on this. So the first and the most easiest is closed captioning. Movie theaters, they don't have closed captioning. If they do, it'll be on a Tuesday at 2 p.m. when everybody's at work and nobody's actually able to go to the movie theater. So we already have over 1 billion disabled people worldwide. So I think it is horrible that we still don't have closed captioning standardized in movie theaters when it's been proven that on, Netflix or Hulu or home entertainment, over 80% of people turn on closed captioning or keep them on.
I hadn't thought about that, but yeah, absolutely. I always have them on because it's like I can't hear otherwise.
Yes, because you have different languages, voices, just accents. You have explosions happening in the background. There's just so much happening at once that it's almost mandatory for closed captioning to be on for anybody to enjoy entertainment.
Yeah, but in movies, it's overlooked. Yeah. I guess audiobooks for a long time have been like the way to make books more accessible for people who have visual impairments. That's my perspective. I mean, we hear a lot about AI these days and people saying that books being widely available, that AI narration makes it more accessible. But I think that people deserve better narration than just AI narration. They deserve the story to be really told and not just the words spit out, personally.
My area is also pretty limited. It's mostly audiobooks and podcasts, audio dramas. And audiobooks are also an incredible way for people who just can't sit and read a book or, they can't hold the focus long enough. And podcasts and audio dramas are a great way for people who have visual impairments who can't watch TV. They can still have the full experience of how the story is told when it's an audio drama.
A lot of times in the deaf community and hard of hearing community, I see a lot of people who want to participate in podcasts, but they can't because it's only audio based.
Yeah.
And there's been a demand for there to also be transcripts available for those podcasts because literally everything these days is a podcast. Mm-hmm. People are building podcasts.
Yep.
Audiobooks, you already have the physical book with it as well, which helps it, but podcasters no widely available transcription for that yet.
And if we're talking about barriers around audiobooks, I think it's mostly it's actually money related. It really is, because the smaller indie publishers, they can't kickstart every single audiobook they want to do. And there's so many good books that come out of indie publishers, but they don't have enough money to pay an audiobook narrator, the $200, $250 per finished hour. And you don't want to lower the price so much that the audiobook narrator isn't making enough to live with. So that's the biggest one that I see for what I work on.
I actually would like to kind of follow up on this. I know that often whenever we are thinking about accessibility or we're talking about accessibility, one of the things that comes up is it's too expensive, or, well, no, it's only the small community that's going to end up using this or buying it or whatever. Have y'all had any experience maybe trying to leave the traditional media space to find pathways to produce work that is more accessible?
So a great example in terms of finances is that Xbox has the accessible controller, which is a square and it has two large round buttons, and it is expensive, but Xbox actually loses money for everything it produces because it intentionally tries to keep the prices low. So accessibility does not make money, which is an issue in the community because people are like, well, why would I spend time, making my website, my movies, my audiobook, et cetera, accessible when it does not make me money? So that's still a barrier that we're trying to solve for.
It's almost like I have to I try to do one book a month that is for an indie publisher or a self-published author. I do it for a very, very, very low rate so everybody can get that, and it's a big hit for me. I really enjoy doing it, but it is hard when you spend a lot of time doing it. Like you have to read the thing, you have to edit the thing. I do not outsource any of my stuff. I do all my editing myself. So when I do it for the very low rate, it can get to these more indie published authors, but it's so hard to like balance that in my own budget. And so I wish that I don't know there's a huge disconnect, and I don't know what is going to have to be done to make those books and those authors. We've got to connect the two. I'm losing my words here. We have to like bridge the gap, because there are such great stories to be told, and I think everybody deserves to hear them.
There's a really good initiative through Lyric Audio. They run a nonprofit called Audio in Color, and they run a competition, and they have like judges, and then they finance, I forget how many audiobooks written by BIPOC authors, and they pay the narrator's market rates, the production, everything. And so they've put out a lot of audiobooks that wouldn't have been accessible otherwise that way. And it would be really cool if there was that for other kind of marginalized communities. It's a really cool initiative that my friend Andy Arndt, she owns Lyric, and she started that. And I was on the judging panel before when they were figuring out which books they were going to go ahead and produce. But that was a cool way to make it affordable and still pay the narrator, was by fundraising and then hiring people that way.
More of that, please. Thank you.
Yeah, that would be awesome.
That's awesome. Well, following up with that, what's something then entertainment that people who are creators can do that they may not realize, but it will make their work more accessible?
Two answers to that. Again, closed captioning. To quote the Parasite director, it is a 1-inch barrier. You can do it. I promise you, the 1 inch is not going to hurt you when you turn on closed captioning. The other thing that I've seen in recent years, especially as Hollywood continues to grow, is lighting in movies. Game of Thrones is a great example. You could not see the last season. It did not matter that your TV brightness was at the top. You couldn't see anything. And I'm continuously seeing more and more TV shows produce very dark scenes because they want to, match the fantasy or the vibes of it. But that's not making it accessible or an enjoyable experience for the viewer. And they only recently learned how to properly light black skin, and that has been something that Hollywood has been demanding for years and years, is appropriately lighting people of color. So lighting is actually a very simple but very overlooked perspective when it comes to accessing the entertainment. You need to be able to see your video games, your movies, etc.
I have no vision impairment really, and I'm trying to play Dragon Age right now. I can't see anything.
Yeah. Well, I'm going to add my own thing to this. Movie companies out there, if you insist on putting closed captioning in the glasses, make the glasses more comfortable. That's just my own personal thing. I hate those. I hate them. I also use closed captioning. I don't like the glasses. Just had to add that. Okay. Is there any... I feel like we've already answered a lot of these questions, but finally, I'd like to close with, are there any innovative tools or platforms for making entertainment more accessible that you would like to see or you'd like others to know about? I know you mentioned one earlier, and I think the audiobook.
Audio in color.
Yeah, audio in color. Yeah. Make sure we get that one for the folks at home. But is there anything else along those lines that y'all think would be helpful for folks?
There are a couple of platforms that host audiobooks, like Chirp, I think, is one of them, that you don't have to have a monthly subscription. You can just go in and buy the book, like everybody else gets to. But really, Chirp is the only one I can think of right now. But Kobe, I think, is a way, way cheaper option for people. So really, just get away from Audible if you can.
Definitely, anytime you can use your library to get audiobooks, those licenses that they sell for the audiobooks, they're like priced appropriately and they're only allowed to like lend out so many copies at once. So it does directly still benefit the publisher and the author, not the narrator, because we don't get royalties on TradPub books, but because it can be expensive, audiobooks, but as much as you can use your library, it makes it more affordable.
Yeah.
For me, in terms of just improving accessible experiences, I noticed that for most of our entertainment, the representation that we do for disability is very much falls into the category of inspiration porn. It is not actually meaningful lived experience when you're still casting non-disabled actors to play Stephen Hawking and to represent these disabled people. That is still inspiration porn. That is not authentic. So being able to spotlight actual disabled actors, voice actors for audiobooks that you talked about, video games, the only representation that we have in video games so far is on the settings menu. So I would love to move away from the settings menu and actually have deaf or blind or wheelchair users in the video games I play. I also understand that for any experience that we make, it is impossible to make anything 100% accessible. It's not doable. With that said, we need to prioritize the experience more. Okay, what is the experience that I want to create? How would someone not be able to have this experience that we enjoy? And viewing it that way is very much the same as viewing it between a social and medical model. The social model is prioritizing the experience. The medical model says, okay, let's list out every possible disability ever, and let's figure out, how can we make this disability be able to access the content? No, you need to reverse it the other way around so that you can prioritize the experience and ensure that everybody is having the same or equal emotional experience.
Well, that's awesome. We're going to be wrapping up pretty soon. Do y'all want to tell where people can find you or your work? Now's a great time to shout out if you've got anything coming up or social media. Anybody.
I'm Sam Stark everywhere. Sam Stark or Sam Stark VA. And I'm all the major platforms. You can just Google me. You can find me.
Yeah, I'm Natalie Naudus everywhere. Naudus is my last name, Natalie Naudus.
And I'm Tess Grossman. You can find me on LinkedIn. I also have my personal website. I'm, to quote Sam Stark, Google me. You'll be fine.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much. This has been a really great conversation.
Thank you.
Thanks for having us. Yeah, thank you for coming. And I've had a great time. Up next, we're going to have a performance by the Camino Temple Saber Guild doing the Crisis of Leia Organa. And then at 2:40, we're chatting with cosplayer Starfighter Smalls about confidence in cosplay. Awesome. Thank you all.